Yeah, we do have 6.
Yep, okay. All right, great. I'm Michael Burns. I call this meeting of the EDA to order. Today's date is October 5th. Would you please read the roll, or however we've been doing it? We don't do this enough, so that I can remember.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Members present today include Nate Anderson, Michael Burns, Chad Coda, Larry Seljevold, Bobby Celine, and Deb White. If I missed somebody, would you please speak up? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any agenda amendments?
None at this time.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
Move to approve. Deb White.
Thanks, Deb. Is there a second?
A second. Bobby.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any others? Maybe we need to take an actual roll call.
Sounds good. I will read your last name in alphabetical order. Anderson,
Aye.
Burns,
Aye.
Coda, Chad Coda. You'll have to unmute your mic.
Aye.
Thank you. Larry Seljevold. Larry, unmute your mic.
Aye.
Thank you. Bobby Celine.
Aye.
Thank you. Deb White.
Aye.
Thank you. And we should also note that Abdullah Ali is now entered the meeting. 11:46.
Good, thank you. Any notice from any citizens wanting to address the board?
We have not received any comments, and I don't believe anybody's on the call from the public.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners' reports. Guess there are none. Moving on to item number 6 on the agenda. And I'm going to turn this conversation over to Derrick, and it's to consider the approval of the proposed redevelopment plan for 8th Street and a tax increment financing district. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just for those on the call, I would just remind yourself to mute yourself while we're just kind of in transition here. This is a pretty substantial project that we have before us today. We have from Enclave Brian Bachman, who I believe is on the call, and I'm not sure if Alyssa's on or not, but their architect is on as well. So I'll kind of give an introduction. I may pass it to our attorney's office to give a couple comments, and then I'll pass it to the developer to maybe fill in anything that we missed, and then we'll go into discussion from there. So what this is, and for those of you that are kind of new to this, is we have a proposed project basically in the southeast corner of 8th and 94. This is a housing project, so there is a project map. I don't know if Amy, you might be able to try to pull that up. Maybe we can just use that as reference while I'm talking. There is a proposed site plan that looks at developing a multifamily housing project on the green field between Muscatel, Subaru's kind of campus, I'll call it, and the existing commercial to the west. This housing TIF district would be basically approved here today, recommended approval. It would go to City Council, and the creation of the district is what we're looking for today. But I'll just kind of get into some project specifics. We have 127 units of multifamily housing proposed that would have surface and underground parking. The term of the tax increment is 26 years. We're maximizing the term. And part of the reason why we're maximizing the term is the housing aspect of this project is on the east side of this map that Amy just put on her screen. But part of that increment is helping with the commercial development on the west side. So there'll be a lot of changes to the west side. But for the purposes of this particular incentive, we are looking at creating and establishing the housing TIF district on the housing piece, the east side of this property. Part of state statute requires for a housing district that at least 20% of the units will be restricted for occupancy by persons or families with incomes no greater than 50% of the area's median income. So there's an affordable housing component that is required by state statute. And the developer has agreed that at least 25 units of the proposed 127 units would be reserved for that affordable housing component. There's obviously a lot of steps with this project. So there's obviously the establishment of the district, which is what we're talking about today. We'll also have a master developers agreement, and that is a document that will tie both the housing development with the commercial development to the west. Our city attorney's office is preparing those documents that will kind of go over a lot of the terms. And obviously just a lot of detail to get there. You can imagine this area has seen a lot of different transition with banks and some closures. So there's a lot of different banks involved with this one. So we appreciate Enclave's willingness to negotiate through those challenges and ultimately put together a pretty fine proposal. When it's all said and done, we're talking about north of $30 million of investment in that entire project area. So again, a very, very large development proposal, and we're thankful for Enclave's work on it. Maybe I'll stop there, and I'll just say, again, today we're looking for a recommendation to approve the housing district, and then at a later date, probably in the beginning of November, we will have the actual master development agreement that will tie the housing piece to the commercial piece, and that document is being prepared by the city attorney's office. So I'll stop there. I'll maybe let Brian Bachman with Enclave touch on anything I may have missed, and then we can go into questions from there. Brian, do you have anything you want to add?
No, you did a good job. Yeah, we're excited about this corner. Think we have a lot of opportunities of some different things that we can do. The housing is going to end up driving the project, the TIF district that the city has helped us with. We hope is going to get us over the finish line here of bringing in some new tenants and some new uses in this area that we hope is going to kind of help kickstart some redevelopment in this whole area of town.
Thanks, Brian. And I'll just say too, I know the site plan that we have up on the screen here, there are some details of what potentially could go there, but a lot of that stuff in working with Enclave, they'll wait to kind of announce some of those tenants, but I think it's an exciting opportunity, obviously such a visible corridor for our community with the interstate traffic and the amount of cars that pass through there on a daily basis. There are other components of this that need to move forward. So there's a zoning change that's going to the Planning Commission on Wednesday. So they'll hear that. And then we'll bring it forward to City Council on the 12th as well. We're hoping to have the district created by the October 26th City Council meeting, and then hopefully have the master developer agreement approved sometime in November. So with that, I'll maybe stop and see if there's any questions. We'll ask you if you want to maybe raise your hand on the screen so we can easily see who maybe has a question, but happy to start answering some questions you may have.
Deb White.
Okay. Deb.
Thank you very much. And I just have to say how excited I am about this project. First of all, we've been talking for quite some time about the need for more affordable housing in Moorhead, and I really appreciate that they are working to address that need. And this has been an area, as Councilmember Seljevold and I are both Ward 3, and that's part of our ward. And it's been an area of concern. That we've seen that that's an older plaza, and it's lost some of the retail, the commercial space that was in there. And so I think combining both residential and commercial development at the same time is a great idea. I could see where, first of all, having 127 units right there will help to support the retail space, because you've got things that are, walkable. But I also think it'll make living in that area much more desirable too, because again, you'll have lots of new retail spots that you could easily walk to. So I think it's a great project. And really, I realize that this isn't what we're considering today, but if there is any insight, just looking at that map of trying to get an idea of what the commercial development will look like, it looks like perhaps they are planning on shrinking the size of the plaza. But any information they were interested in sharing right now, I would enjoy the opportunity to learn a little bit about that. And I think it just, again, it's a great addition to Moorhead. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Brian, do you want to address anything from the commercial standpoint?
Yeah, the plan as of right now would be to tear down the existing building back to where the existing CVS space is. So that's where that car wash space ends up, is in where that building used to be. And then the goal would be for us to add a drive-through to the CVS location. There is a new restaurant bar going into that area there. And then there are other tenants that we are working with and have some preliminary contracts with, but I can't disclose any of those yet. We need to finish getting through this due diligence process with the city and with the seller and everything else, so that before we can start announcing some of the new stuff. So, sorry, not yet.
Thank you. Yes, Dan.
Thank you, Chair Burns. I just want to lift up and just express appreciation for the staff team that's been working on this and the developer. It's been something that's been going on for the last couple months, and it's taken, one thing I want to mention here is the creativity that went behind structuring this TIF. So right now, 16% of Moorhead's tax base is commercial industrial, and there isn't parity between the residential and the commercial uses. And so one of the things the developer has been willing to do when we express the interest of what we've been hearing from from local officials is this need around affordability. And so has structured this TIF so that the increment supports the housing use. The commercial side is on the tax roll. So, it's almost, it's an interesting partnership. It's a creative partnership that's unique to Moorhead. And frankly, as we move forward, I just want to mention, keep an eye out for these 70s era strip malls, because that's where a lot of opportunity is at. There's need. They're getting to be over 50 years old. They're large parking lots. They have services. There is infrastructure. There are roads. There's water. There's sewer. There are all these things that are in place for some of these really neat mixed use sort of development. So just want to just say thank you to Brian, the Enclave team, and the staff that has been meeting weekly to get this thing ready and to go prime time here.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, we have a lot of different players involved with this. City staff, we also have a TIF consultant group. That's Baker Tilly, who you've seen some of the reports in your packet are from. They help with the basically drafting of a lot of these notices and the timelines and the materials. Also, the city attorney's office as well. They're going to be working hard with the developers agreement and other stuff. So there's a lot of people involved with this one. It's obviously a big project, and we hope to see this one through. So are there any other questions for us or for Brian?
Larry has his hand up.
Councilman Salzervold.
Yes, is there around that retention pond, can the city work with them or do it ourselves? Can we get like a walking path around that? Because, I used to teach elementary physical education. I see kind of more green space for dogs than I do for kids. And so that would be one of the things I would point out. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe I'll start with that. So obviously this is just a preliminary, site plan. So there's a lot of detail that can still go into it. I know we've heard also from the Muscatel Subaru group of talking about a potential connection from their campus to this area. Obviously, if you get people that are doing service on their vehicle and looking to, go to somewhere to eat or grab a drink or whatever, or shop at CVS. So, we haven't had a whole lot of conversations with Brian yet about internal circulation, but it can be something that we explore and continue to look at. Brian, I don't know if you want to address that in any way, or City Manager Mahli, do you have any comments on that?
I think you handled that pretty well, Derrick, because that's really, you're correct. We're really early to even know for sure how big that retention pond needs to be, how much space we would have around it, what external amenities that we want to try to have around it. So it's certainly something that we can keep in the back of our mind, and as we're working through this, working through the plans, the city will certainly be able to be a part of that discussion.
And I'd like to add, I think Councilmember Seljevold makes a great point about using these retention and detention ponds as more than just an area that we mow and that can collect water when we need it and hold it when we don't. There's more than one way to use some of these great spaces.
Agree. Any other comments, questions? All right. Next on, we're going to have a motion. I need a motion to create the district.
I'll make that motion. Anderson.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Deb White seconds.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Amy, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ali.
Aye.
Thank you. Anderson.
Aye.
Burns.
Aye.
Coda. Chad Coda.
Aye.
Thank you. Cusa.
Aye.
Kovash. Paulson.
Yes.
Thank you. Larry Seljevold.
Aye.
Bobby Celine.
Aye.
Deb White. The motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Moving on, next item on the agenda is the Economic Development Report. Derrick, you want to fill us in on that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, everybody, on that last item. There'll be more to come on that with the Master Developer Agreement. And we're really excited about that project. That's a big one for Moorhead. So thank you to the Enclave team and everybody that's been a part in assisting that. Some of the monthly highlights here, we did have our first round of the Small Business Economic Relief Grants. We ended up having approximately 200 applicants with almost $1.7 million in direct grants going to, these were nonprofits, small businesses under 20 employees, independent contractors, and sole proprietors. So the majority of folks received $10,000 grants. The sole proprietors, independent contractors that were basically self-employed received $3,000 grants. So that's a large amount of money that went out to our community. We also worked closely with the county. The county had about 120 applicants and about $1 million in direct grants. These were for businesses outside of the city of Moorhead. So a large amount of money into our community that goes a long, long ways. I will say too, the staff were spectacular in it, whether it was Amy, Chrissy Lashofsky, others that were doing the internal review of these programs. We also work closely to just understand the program better from our state partners with the West Central Initiative. So there's a lot of people, finance cutting the checks, a lot of
IT.
people. Yeah, IT was spectacular in creating an online system. We, as of right now, and I didn't get the latest numbers, but I would say we have checks out to maybe all but maybe 2 or 4 businesses. So people have received their funds, and it's a testament to obviously the creation of the program and the timeliness that we put into this to make sure people receive those funds. So we're excited about that. We did work with Clay County. They had some remaining funds left in their small business relief area. They went live with a grant program on October 1st. And these are grants up to $10,000 or $10,000 grants for businesses with 20 to 50 employees. So it's just that field there, the 20 to 50 employees. A lot of the same criteria is in place for whether you are restricted by the governor's order with occupancy or you had to have a 10% loss in a specific date range. This second round is live for all businesses within Clay County, including Moorhead. So we kind of joined together to just have one program, one application, and then we're working with the county to kind of process the Moorhead applications that we do receive. So again, that program went live on October 1st, and it closes on October 15th. And we hope that many Moorhead businesses take advantage of those grants that are available. The county also put in place some direct grants for assisted living and care facilities. These were grants of $25,000. I think there was about 22 care facilities, assisted living facilities within all of Clay County, majority of them being in Moorhead. And the county was doing direct outreach to those individual facilities to provide them with that grant. There's a signed affidavit, and then they capture that grant. So good amount of money that will stay in this community as well, and in an industry that has seen a lot of challenges, obviously, with the pandemic and the issues that they've had in these facilities. I mentioned this the last time, but again, there's concerns and some folks, as the colder weather has approached, that are worried about occupancy restrictions, specifically the restaurant industry. A lot of them right now are relying on outdoor space to be able to kind of make some of their numbers work. This topic is being discussed at the state level quite frequently, and I would expect them to come out with some further guidance or at least an overall kind of clarification for folks as we get cooler into the fall here. Downtown master plan, I'm hoping to have a draft plan for myself to review this Friday. So we're really excited that the plan's coming together. We also are presenting, we've been asked to present at a large Midwest planning conference in a couple weeks that talks about our public engagement process. So this is a multi-state kind of effort and or conference, and we're grateful to be able to share some of the engagement and things that we did here in Moorhead that really captured a lot of excitement, and hopefully this plan lays some foundation for years to come. Another thing to point out too is the Chamber's Public Policy Committee. They met on September 15th. One of the issues that they focused on is a kind of a emission standards that there's been some rumor about the state of Minnesota putting some higher enforcements to environmental and emission standards in the auto industry. We have heard from the local dealers in town. We've heard from some other folks working with our state lobbyists as well as local legislators to make sure that we have that addressed if that were to go forward. But at this point in time, we have not heard of this really taking a pressing issue, so we're keeping an eye on it, but something that some of our business owners, especially in the auto industry, are following closely as well. With that, I'll maybe, well, actually, there's one more thing I want to say too. On October 7th, I'll be presenting at the Chamber's Eggs and Issues event. That's this Wednesday. I think it's 7:30 in the morning. So if you want to hear what's going on in our downtown and Fargo and West Fargo's downtown, be sure to register and participate in that event. So be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thanks, Derrick. All right. Just a reminder that if the building permit and valuation report is up, I believe on the website now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. With any other items?
None from us.
Yeah, QSA speaking here. I just had a question for Derrick. By saying that the Clay County, so Moorhead's going to be included in that state initiative on the North Dakota side, are the criterias of eligibility still going to be the same? Because when there was that first economic resiliency grant on the North Dakota side, sometimes some of the criterias were different than on the Moorhead side. It was kind of a first come, first served. I mean, it was basically different criteria. So wondering if this time is it going to be, like you said, more uniform?
Yeah, so if I'm following correctly, the state of North Dakota put out a grant program. They had limited funds available. It was statewide, and there was a lot of restrictions to that. It wasn't necessarily directed for a lot of small business. It was kind of a lot of different industry. For the program that was created here in Moorhead, we mimicked a grant program that was run by the state of Minnesota. That was through the lottery system. We knew that there was many people that still needed help. So we took a lot of the same application criteria from the state of Minnesota that many of our folks and businesses had already applied for, and we replicated that here for our first round in Moorhead and in Clay County. The second phase, the second round that the county's doing, is basically the exact same application process. The only difference is our first round allowed for businesses under 20 employees, and this second round is only for businesses between 20 and 50 employees. So those that would have been previously approved through the first round would not be eligible in this round per the county. So yeah, there's a lot of coordination between the county to make this as easy as possible. And we are, continuing to spread the word, so we hope people will continue to do that. If you have further questions on that, I would go to Clay County's website. They have a link live there that kind of explains exactly what's the eligibility requirements are for the second round. Or contact Sherry Larson or myself, and we'll be happy to help you through it as well.
Thank you, Derrick.
Thank you.
With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.